Let us build a bridge out of the good greatness we have in common. No more jail now. No more jail now. No more jail now. No more jail now. Scroll call before the books.
When I was a kid, coming up in the mid-50s, I guess cowboy and Indian movies were, popular at that time and stuff like that. So when I was in first grade, I did not get a toy gun for Christmas. And that was the first Christmas I can remember not getting a toy gun. I cried like a baby and I was just upset and all bent out of shape. And I guess I've just had a fascination with guns since I was a little kid. As I grew older, I still had this fascination, but I also didn't want to get in any kind of legal trouble. And so I was kind of in a quandary as to how to pursue this fascination. I became politicized at a very early age, so before I was out of high school, I had already decided I would never fight for the U.S. military, I would never join the National Guard, I would never join the police department. So then how was I supposed to pursue this knowledge that I wanted? When I got to college, I became aware of various gun magazines. And in reading these gun magazines, I started reading about these various shooting schools. And as time passed, I had taken a armed security guard training course, I guess back in 1984. And by 1990, I decided I wanted to find out what it would take to become a firearms instructor, because I wanted to see if I could get a part-time job as a firearms instructor with the security guard training program. I went back to the people where the security school I went to and asked them, what do you have to do to become an instructor? They said, well, you got to take a course with the NRA. And in June, July or so of 1992, I went to Quantico, Virginia, to the U.S. Marine base there. The NRA offered a class called Security Law Enforcement Instructors Class. And to my surprise, that's when I found out that the private sector leads the public sector, not the other way around. In other words, this was a private organization, the NRA, and everybody and their grandmama was sending their people to the NRA to learn how to shoot, to come back and teach their people how to shoot. So you're talking about government agencies and top-level corporate security sending their people to the NRA to get trained how to come back and teach their people how to shoot. So that was a real kind of eye-opening experience, but that's what was required for me to become certified with the Illinois Department of Professional Regulations to begin offering the security guard training classes.
I've been an active member of the activist Pan-African community in Chicago since my youth. I was politicized also at a very early age, in 7th grade, in 1966, when Stokely Carmichael was in Lowndes County, Alabama, and was giving a speech and said, what we need is black power. And it was on then. And one of the manifestations of that was to us to operate from a position of power. We had to empower ourselves, but using some of the same equipment that the enemy used to oppress us, and that would be being able to be armed to protect ourselves and protect our communities. So in 1969, I joined the Black Panther Party and was an active member of the Panther Party into the early 70s. And in 1982, after seeing that the community was not really going to, as a group, police itself, or I should say protect itself, I joined the Chicago Police Department because my theory is that we need to saturate every infrastructure that affects us. It's irrelevant who's at the top of any particular group or organization. It's the people that have contact with the community that determine how that particular job set is going to affect people in the community. And I consulted with other activists that I know, both people in the former Black Panthers and other people in the Pan-Africanist community as to their opinion about me, joining the police department. I was met pretty much with 100% support that we need to be represented. So I joined the police department, 26 years on the police department. I retired as a violent crimes detective in 2008.
My role in the organization is to try to increase recruitment with more women, getting more women involved and getting them to understand that firearms are nothing that you need to be afraid of. They're tools to basically protect yourself, to kind of, let them know I'm the average everyday woman out here. I go to work every day. I have responsibilities. I have a home life. I'm not a police officer, nor am I an NRA instructor. I'm like most women that live in the city of Chicago that has to travel back and forth, so on and so forth, and to take like this mystery and this spookiness that's surrounded around, handguns, firearms, out of it. I think sometimes when they see someone like me, everybody has their impressions. In no way would they think someone like me would be interested in something like knowing how to protect yourself with a firearm. So what it does, it opens up the door of conversation where they feel comfortable to kind of ask me any kind of question, and no question is silly.
I have been training since about 2003. I've taken several classes with Mr. Vernon. I've also attended other classes with him, with other agencies. And I've also taken the concealed carry firearms course. I had always had a fear of firearms. I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't go anywhere near them. If I saw someone with a firearm, I was going the other way. Over the course of the years with my association with Mr. Vernon, I have very much overcome that fear.
Personal Protection Consultants is a firearms training organization where we teach people, various aspects, not only firearms, but various aspects of self-defense. So that would include handgun training, shotgun training, rifle training, hand-to-hand combat, knife fighting, stick fighting. Conceal and carry now is in effect on some level in every state in the country. There are 7 states that are what are called may-issue states, and the other 43 are what are called shall-issue states. The difference between the two is that shall-issue means if a person applies for a concealed carry permit, as long as they pass a criminal background check and a mental illness background check, that the state is required to issue the permit to that person and leave any other reason. Whereas a may-issue state, this person has to go before some judge, some sheriff, some political entity and try to justify and rationalize why it is they need to have a gun.
You're going to get more hours of training if you go to the police. You're at the police academy for 6 months. And, you may have an hour or so of training after you've been there a while. I mean, you don't start day one, with firearms training or handgun training. But despite the fact that, you have more of an opportunity to shoot and practice and everything else. One of the things that certainly it's going to be more. I mean, you're going to get more training in the military to shoot an AR-15 than you would than the average citizen, unless you take the extra time to do it. When we're instructing people how to shoot firearms, it's very important. Remember, we have people in our classes that have never fired a gun in their life, and there's some people who are a little more experienced but have never had any real instruction. And it's important to have enough instructors there to give people individual attention, not just in their hitting the target skills, but in their weapon handling safety skills. You have to be very careful that someone is handling a firearm in a safe manner.
Basically, in order to own a gun, you have to get what is called a firearm owner's identification card. That's what anyone in the state of Illinois needs to have in their possession in order to legally own or possess a handgun and or ammunition. You don't have to have a FOIA card to take the class. You would need to have a FOIA card in order to at least have applied for a FOIA card when you apply for your concealed carry permit. But once you've taken the 16 hours of training that's mandated by the state, and that is the highest number of hours of training of any state in the country as far as training requirements are concerned, but once a person has completed that, they can then apply for their concealed carry permit. It's supposed to get back to you within 90 days if you submit fingerprints. Fingerprints are optional, they're not required. If a person does not submit fingerprints, the state has an additional 30 days to process the application. But again, fingerprints are not required, and it's optional. Contact personalprotectionconsultants.com. Go to the webpage and just click on the icon that says Concealed Carry Classes. And I have all my dates for the entire year on there. Just click on for whatever month you want to take the class. I offer classes once a month. Just click on whatever month you want to take the class. You pay for it through PayPal, either credit card or debit card. And then you would come and take the class. Once you complete the class, you can either apply online, or now they finally come out with a paper application, so you can do either or, and you would complete your application. If you want to get your card back as soon as you can, then you might, want to invest another $55, $60 to get fingerprints. For another 30 days, they're going to make a difference one way or the other.
First and foremost, you have to control this. Secondly, you have to control your space, meaning if you have to control you have to have community control of your household. It does have to do with the type of environment that you create in your own personal individual space. You can't have chaos in your personal space and then go out and have a controlled community.
These are just average everyday people. People from all walks of life, all different professions, various education levels. We got people with GEDs and we got people with PhDs that have taken the classes, and so forth and so on. So a pretty wide spectrum, of the community. That's 2548 East 83rd Street. The phone number is 773-415-1814, and the website is personalprotectionconsultants with the S on the end.com. And I just invite people to check us out and avail themselves of these classes. Is top-notch, high-quality training. I've spent the last 22 years of my life traveling all over the country, spending all kinds of money, learning these skills with the specific intent to bring this back to my community, so that my people could have access to the same quality of training from somebody that looks like them, just like other people can access high-quality training from people who look like them.